Hello and welcome to the final episode of Series 3, the Analog Power On series. Today I'll be quizzing Mohneeb on what I've taught him this series. So I've got 10 questions. Just like our previous series, we'll be covering the summary of our entire episodes. So Mohneeb, without further ado, what can you tell me about the AICT key features?
Sure, so with the AICT we have 2 channels for VI and 3 channels for discrete. We also have the 24 pins available with the analog I/O connector, which can be used to test analog ICs in circuit.
Right, okay, great. So you mentioned analog devices. What type of analog devices can we test?
So with the System 8 library comes with thousands and thousands of different devices. For example, we have op-amps, comparators, data converters, we have optocouplers as well as discrete components such as transistors, diodes and so on.
Okay, fantastic. How does the system go about testing the different analog components in the library?
Okay, so there's 3 different test types available. So we have a connection test, which looks at how the device is wired on the PCB as it is. We have a voltage test, which looks at the voltage on each pin at that particular moment in time. We also have the functional test, which basically makes sure that our device is operating as it should be.
Okay, fantastic. So, in episode 3, we introduced ABI's brand new module, the PPS. What can you tell me about that?
Okay, as you said, the PPS is the latest module that ABI has released. And this module is the programmable power supply. So it has 3 independent channels that can be used to either power up your board. And all these channels can output a maximum of 120 watts. Not only can it output that much, if you need more voltage or you need more current, these can be configured either in series or parallel. We also have 3 sense channels and also a ground. In addition to those, the PPS can also be used as a diagnostic tool because we have the ability to monitor the voltage, the current, as well as the outputs.
Okay, fantastic. And in the same episode, we introduced the MIS4 module. What tests do we do with the DSO, AWG, and why?
Okay, fantastic. So in that episode, you explained the DSO, as you mentioned, as well as the waveform generator. With the DSO, what we did was, with the waveform generator, we injected a square signal into one side of the optocoupler, which was on the PC that we had in front of us at that moment in time. And then with the oscilloscope on the other side, we measured the output and we looked at the propagation delay of our device, and we saw that it switched on at approximately 8 microseconds, which lies within the datasheet. So this was more of a parametric test that we carried out with the DSO and the waveform generator.
Okay, fantastic. And what is the CRT test and how can it be used, how can it be set up by the BoardMaster?
Good question. So the CTR test came after the test where we show the propagation delay. So this makes use of another instrument available with the MIS4, which was the universal I/O. Now the universal I/O comes with 8 channels. These channels can be set to either an input or an output. So we either driving or we are sensing, and we set up our universal I/O in such a way that we basically created a flow of current, and then we monitor this current with the ultimate script editor. We use these values, did a calculation to produce the CTR, the current transfer ratio, and then again we check this against the datasheet to make sure that our value lies within what the datasheet says. And again, this is another parametric test that we created with some of the instruments available with the MIS4.
All right, fantastic. So in episode 6, we reviewed the other measurement instruments available with the MIS4 module. What can you tell us about them?
Okay, so in episode 6, we looked at 4 more instruments available with the MIS4. So this was the digital voltmeter, the ohm meter, the ammeter, as well as the frequency counter. Now these instruments all look similar to each other, but obviously they do different things. And as we saw, we have the ability to set a target. So for example, with the voltmeter, if we're expecting to measure 5 volts, let's say, we can set the target to 5 volts, set our tolerance, and then when we probe our test point, we'll either get a pass or fail if what we are measuring lies within the 5 volts or not. And also we have the automatic measurement statistics as well, which gives us additional information about the points we are testing.
Right, great. So following on from that, what sectors can make benefit of the reporting features?
Right, okay. So not only can we document all the test procedure, we can also create a report. Now with the report, we can save lots and lots of different information from the tests we are doing. And as you mentioned, many different industries use our BoardMaster, for example, the rail industry, aerospace, transport, automotive, manufacturing, and so on. And all this is very useful, especially for compliance and traceability.
Brilliant. Okay, so in the final episode, we talked about customizing the BoardMaster instruments. Okay, how is that done?
Okay, so this is another popular feature with the System 8 Ultimo software, which obviously comes with the BoardMaster. Now, what this feature allows you to do is create your own custom instruments. So you have the ability to design a new instrument, and you can also customize or edit existing instruments as well.
Right, and the last question, what's the benefit of customizing these instruments, and how can I get them to work together to perform a specific task?
Okay, so in episode 7, you showed us an example of an instrument which makes use of multiple instruments from the MIS4, but not only that, also the power supply. So this was 4 different instruments, all in one custom design instrument, which can be designed, customized to the customer's requirements, and then this can also be saved as well and then added to the instrument menu. So for example, let's say in one of the previous episodes we explained that we have a 3-channel DSO. So if we don't need to use all 3 channels, we only need to use one, we can then modify this so we only can see the information from that one channel. We don't have to have all the options available, again, to make this easier for technicians and engineers to use as well.
Well done, Mohneeb, on getting all the questions right. So that concludes Series 3. In this series, we talked about analog devices, power on and the MIS4. We want to thank you for joining us all the way through 2020 for all our 3 series. You can catch up on them. And if you want to get in contact, you can talk to us on sales@abilectronics.co.uk or on the online chat. We can also arrange an online demonstration for you at any time. We all speak many languages here, so we're happy to talk to you. All right, so make sure to subscribe for the next series. We'll be touching on a lot more interesting things, and make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it.